All right, so finals here. Zan on the play with Infect. He has kept 7. Drake, we mentioned, is on a 6-card hand. Scry to the top. There's not that many cards with Titan Shift that you scry to the top here, so that's a good sign. Zan starting off just on Inkmoth Nexus. No Glistener Elf.
Yeah, no Glistener Elf, no Hierarch, but having the Nexus means there is a threat online.
Absolutely. Search for Tomorrow from Sasser. Also gives him some insurance in case Drake draws one of those main decked Sweltering Suns. He can still chip back for a lethal swing.
Right. With things like Glistener Elf, Blighted Agent, you do have to be a little bit concerned about being swept up. Where the Nexus just hangs back in your lands, can only get tagged by the Lightning Bolts.
All right, so question here is Zan has a second threat. Blighted Agent plays around Tri-Belter, but would die to Lightning Bolt. Looks like a couple mutagenic growths in Zan's hand. And now draws Become Immense. That could lead to a very quick kill.
Yeah.
And actually, if you can do that, 2 mutagenics and a Become Immense on an Inkmoth Nexus, there's not actually a card in Drake's deck that can stop that.
Right. Double mutagenic means that you can play into Lightning Bolt.
Yeah, and that plus... So Zan might actually be assembling a hand that Drake just can't beat. He'll stick 1 poison onto Drake right now.
Yeah. Zan does have a couple main deck dismembers. I want to say I spot one of those in the hand. That's going to be a dead card in the matchup.
If you're Drake, you hope he draws all of them.
Yeah.
1 poison back to our Titan player. Search for Tomorrow down to 1. Could have a Tri-Build here. Wouldn't really help. He's being hit down by a Flying Infector. So he'll cast Farseek. Up to 3 mana. Will be 4 next turn.
Yep, he's executing as far as his proactive plan, and Zan's just going to show face up.
I have you dead.
Win.
Land, pump, pump, pump.
Yeah, this is 8 points of pump. You have 1 poison. Inkmoth's a 1. That's 10.
Drake says, hold on. I want you to do it. I says, okay.
Zan says, all right, let's see
let's
see if I can figure out how to play the 4 cards I just showed you.
Okay. Here's the land. We activate the Nexus. There's not a gut shot. Deck lists are face up.
Yeah.
Make it a 5/5. Make it a 7/7. Drake says, oh, he's going to pact for something. He's going to pact for something. Make it a 9 and packed it. No,
what a play.
There we go. Pact doesn't target. Dang.
All right.
Zan Syed, game 1.
Turn 3 win.
The hard part about Titan Shift in this matchup is it doesn't pressure, at least game 1, you don't always pressure your opponent to even like make decisions.
Right.
You know, like here's what Drake did. He tapped out, and then Zan got to cast his cards.
Right. He spent 1 mana, and then he spent 2 mana, and then he lost the game.
Yeah, sometimes some decks give you leeway to bluff or to make your opponent play around things. Titan Shift, you tap out each turn. You're like, what'd you do? I played a Farseek.
Even without public deck list, yeah, that's just true.
Yeah.
Your deck is ramp spells and 6 mana spells.
And you're tapped out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Would you like to kill me?
There's nothing weird that's going to happen here. I think I gotcha.
Right. So Drake Sasser, let's look at the sideboard. 3 Obstinate Baloth, 3 Damping Spear, 2 Anger the God, 2 Broken Bond, 2 Commune with Lava, an Engineer Explosives, a Fraction Gust, and a Caustic Caterpillar. So when I played Breach Shift, I used to try to board, when Infect was a really popular deck, when Gitaxian Probe was legal, I used to try to board a lot of cards for it. The discussion we'd have in our team was, should I be boarding 7 cards for this matchup or 0?
Yeah. Drake seems to be on the 0 side of things. You know, he has 2 Anger the Gods and Engineered Explosives. And I guess Caustic Caterpillar against Inkmoth Nexus.
Yeah, the problem is you can board in 7 and you still lose the matchup.
Yeah.
You know, you could have 3 Sudden Shocks, 3 Spell Skites, and a Malira, and you still might lose.
Yeah.
It's
not pretty.
To be fair, if you play all 7 of those, you're getting into the 40%.
Oh, wow. Sounds well worth it.
Yeah, it's nice.
For the low cost of putting a 2-mana 2/2 in my sideboard along with 6 other cards.
Hey, you packed for it. It's not good enough.
Yeah.
On Zan's side, he has Invisible Stalkers, 2 Vernian Corruptor, 2 Nature's Claim, 2 Spellskite, 2 Grafdigger's Cage, 2 Spell Pierce, and a Wild Defiance. I could see some argument for a Spell Pierce here.
I don't mind Spell Pierce. You know, sometimes you might counter a Farseek against the 3-mana sweepers that helps block for your Glistener Elves and your Blighted Agents. That can come in clutch for sure.
I've seen Infectors players board in Spellskite in this matchup. How do you feel about that?
It's okay. I mean, it blocks for Lightning Bolt. It slows you down while it's doing that, though. I mean, you have these 2 Dismembers in the main deck. Those have to go.
Yeah.
And the 2 Spell Pierce, I think, solidly take that slot. And everything else, I think, is pretty reasonable.
Now, that last game, a card like Damping Sphere would have stopped Zan's kill. Does that matter enough?
I mean, probably not. I'd be surprised if it really mattered.
I guess if Zan had just done that play over the course of 2 turns, does it still kill him?
Yeah.
Like, yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not really...
All right, 1 turn, I'll pump it twice, go.
Right.
Hit you again. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It's not like Drake had him dead on the following turn.
Right. Yeah, we were a ways off.
Yeah, and some of the difficulties, you look at these cards out of the board. Okay, you got some Anger of the Gods. That's great. That wouldn't have done... And some Engineer Explosives. Would have any of those mattered last game?
So I have played a lot of the 1-mana removal spell deck decks.
Yeah.
And, in fact, gives you trouble when your interaction costs 3. I mean, Kolaghan's Command is insanely good if it resolves, but it just doesn't resolve.
Yeah,
you
and
just don't get to do 3-mana things.
Well, these are even sorceries, right? None of those, Engineer Explosives is a non-land. Anger's a sorcery.
Yeah.
You died to an Ink Moth.
Right. Yeah, this stuff, it's mana intensive. The timing is no good. It's just really rough for the Titan Shift deck.
You need Caustic Caterpillar. That can do something.
What a card. Was not expecting to see that in 75.
Usually you see Reclamation Sage instead. There's probably a reason this one... I'm trying to think why you'd want this instead of Sage.
I do know that some Affinity players have started having Torpor Orb in their sideboards. I don't think that's a thing that's really going to happen to you, but I don't know. Maybe it had.
And to be honest, it probably doesn't matter whether it's Caterpillar or Rec Sage.
Yeah.
But they both are about the same. You can pay some mana up front if it's Caustic Caterpillar. You can curve into it 1 to 2.
You can attack a couple times, get them to 18.
Well, I mean, I think that argument goes in favor of Rec Sage, right? If you're going to talk about attacking.
Well, they're less likely to have a blocker online against your Caterpillar.
I mean, sometimes you need to get them to that 18 so that you can shift them a turn earlier.
Sometimes the dealer boosts out a Reclamation Sage.
That's actually true. I've gotten hit by that one before.
Sam's going to get in one last pile shuffle. You won't want to leave that on the table. They only let you do that once, which means that
if you don't do it once, then you're just punting,
That's
right?
just one less time that you could have pile shuffled.
It's like, I should be that guy, be like, I never used to pile shuffle, but once they made that rule, I do it every game now.
They told me I could only do it once, and here we are.
I didn't want to leave value.
I pile shuffle if I drop a card.
Pile shuffle once before each match. I tend to be a little... I sometimes leave cards at, like, the last table or something.
I just don't have the patience for that.
I wish I'd say it always ends up on 60, but lots of times it doesn't. That's why I do it. It's like, where'd that... Oh, yeah, hold on. They exiled that thing. I bet it's still over on table 25.
I've seen you lose enough hotel room keys that I believe you.
You defend this pile shuffle?
I defend you pile shuffling. That makes sense to me.
Oh.
As for myself, I have several old room keys on my wallet right now.
Like,
I usually do all right maintaining 60 cards.
That's not a better play. Your wallet must be so heavy.
I get by.
My wallet is quick as the wind. You put hotel keys in your wallet. I just throw them in my pocket, or
the garbage, or on the floor,
yeah.
Or you give them to strangers for no reason. Who knows? Who knows what happens to them?
I don't. That's what I know. I do not know what happens to them.
If there's a person that knows that thing, that person is not me. You can keep asking around. All right, we're underway.
Drake on the play starts on a mountain. Zan. Can he get an Infector online?
Turn 1 mountain. Often indicative of a lightning bolt.
Yeah, I mean, or a hand without many lands, but Drake kept 7.
Yeah.
So that's probably not true. I try to open on Noble Hierarch if I had the choice then from Zan.
And usually that's what you want to do.
In this matchup on the play, I would open on Glistener Elf. Just get him. Most matchups you open on Noble Hierarch. You're not wrong.
Yeah, depending on the context of the hand, I mean, the turn 1 mountain feels a lot like a lightning bolt, so you determine, does my hand have more threats? Does my hand need the mana? There's at least one Inkmoth Nexus at the front of the hand here. Possibly two.
Yeah. Glistener Elf. And yeah, it is a lightning bolt.
Not really a shocker there.
Well, no, it's a bolt.
Ha.
Does one more.
Could have been a gut shot.
Here's Sakura Tribe Elder from Drake Sasser.
Right. So far, Drake doing what he needs to do.
Yep.
Furthering his plan and disrupting Zan. Now, we know Zan has the Ink Moth. Does he have a creature to back it up that can kind of overload Drake?
These are the kind of hands that beat Infect. Bolt into Ramp Spell. Keep it going.
It's definitely harder to pump up an Inkmoth Nexus than a Glistener Elf. Ooh.
Blighted Agent from Zan and Inkmoth Nexus.
And it looks like he has brought in Spellskite. There's one of those floating around in the hand.
Okay.
So he was thinking about which one to deploy. Given how much easier it is to pump a Blighted Agent than an Inkmoth Nexus, I do like this here. Also, if Drake spends this turn with some kind of sweeper that eats the whole turn, he doesn't get to cast any ramp spells. If it's another Lightning Bolt, that plays kind of no matter what. The Spellskite would eat it, obviously, but in terms of mana efficiency, it plays this way. Whereas if it's a sweeper, you get to maybe buy some time.
Anger of the Gods from Drake. More interaction. It's working out. That'll exile the Blighted Agent. Now, Zan does have an Infector still to attack with. So now we'll start to look at how Drake, I think, has done enough on these turns to have a shot at winning. Now we'll see if he can curve into the finisher.
Right. Not clear how many lands Zan has available. There's definitely a second Inkmoth Nexus. Depending on how many pump spells he has, what they cost, getting the Spellskite online might be more valuable than trying to get in the chip shot for one. If he has like 2 Blossoming Defense and then some other kind of pump spell, playing a non-Inkmoth land if he has it and making that attack, I think that makes a lot of sense on this turn. So the question is, do the pump spells do something that the Spellskite does, or does the Spellskite do something that the pump spells don't do?
Fires up Inkmoth Nexus. Swings in for a poison. No pumps. Passes.
Zan looks to be holding a Spell Pierce, I believe.
Okay.
That doesn't really do anything at this phase in the
No,
game.
Drake pet land and says go. See if Zan has more pump. I wonder if he's putting on that 1 poison because he can double 4 this turn. That would make sense.
That would be something.
Just no fear jam.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he does have a forest. He still has the Spellskite towards the front of the hand.
Yeah. Looks like that's what he'll cast.
The horror.
Yeah. He will be dead then to Search for Tomorrow, Scape Shift. Or just Ramp Spell Scape Shift.
Yeah. If he doesn't attack and he has Spell Pierce.
Okay, yeah, the Spellskite can actually save him. You're right.
Well, if it's Ramp Spell on the following turn into Scape Shift, he could theoretically Spell Pierce the Scape Shift.
2 poison onto Drake.
But yeah, Spellskite gains some life.
Yeah, you can pay 2 and redirect all the triggers to Spellskite. So instead of each Valkyrie trigger dealing 3, they all do 2. Means that instead of it being 18 damage, it's 12. Zan would still be alive. Drake makes Primeval Titan here. Unclear if it wins. Drake looks like he has a Summoner's Pact and Antipode. I don't know if he has land 6.
That's rough.
A lot of things have to go right here. The first turns went right for Drake, but it looks like he has a stumble.
This is a situation you really can't... Okay, there is the land there.
It's a second forest, though.
Yeah.
Not great. I mean, he can go for it anyway. The problem is that he's probably dead. If he taps out for Titan, gets 2 Valakuts, says go, and survives to the untap, he'll win. But he probably doesn't survive to the untap. That said, Might just be what the best thing he can do.
Right. The deck doesn't afford you a ton of options.
There's a Spell Skite in play. What were you going to do anyway?
Yeah.
The part that's regrettable when you play Titan Shift is that you're not only do you not have any interaction, but you always tell your opponent that.
Yeah.
You know, so like not only is he going to make Titan and hope to not die here,
Tap all of his mana.
Yeah, he's going to tap all his mana to do it.
Yeah. And it works out often enough. You know, this is the finals of the tournament after all, but
is he going to get Caustic Caterpillar? Is he going that direction? That can't be right.
Yikes. I mean, I believe that there's a lightning bolt in his hand.
Trying to play control here. I get it, but it's getting real fancy.
Mm-hmm. Especially because you have to pay for the pact on the following turn.
Yeah. Yeah, there's still a Spell Skite. We'll see how he plays this one out. Okay, he's getting Titan.
Yeah.
He has land 6 in hand. Don't need to present yet. That's not necessary. Just put your land into play. You're going to be back in there in a second. There we go.
Yeah, so this
Gets
is
2 Valakuts. Yep.
Yeah, there's only 4 mountains on the battlefield, so you don't get to fire anything off. Not that it would really matter. There's a Spell Skite over there.
Yeah, what it does mean when he attacks next turn, both mountains 5 and 6 enter at the same time, so they all see each other. Next attack will be lethal if it happens.
Yeah.
And that's the big question.
Big assumption is this whole next turn concept.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's happening.
Well, let's find out. Zan, 1 attack would send him, would bring him home the trophy. Let's see if he can do it. This would be his first win on the SCG Tour.
Yeah. Handful of top 8s, but yeah, it would be the first trophy.
Does Zan have it? 5th land. I see some cards here, yeah.
2 Might
of Old Krosa activating Moth
yeah,
Nexus. Is
this
it?
That does it.
Nexus.
Drake will once again test Zan's ability to tap lands to cast spells. And wow, Zan passes again.
And that's going to be the match. Zan Syed is your winner here in Atlanta. Defends the hometown open. And what a weekend for him with Infect. Crushing through